even at the very beginning when SIT come to China. So the designer designed like this activity, like to give our students like Chinese homestay families. But at the beginning, because at that time China is still not opened like wide enough, so at that time, according to the policies, so Chinese families didn't allow to have like a foreigner to live with them. So that time that was a quite sensitive topic. Yeah, until later, about like 12 or 14 years ago, so the government changed their policy. So they fully allowed like foreigners with like the official permit, so to stay with like a Chinese family.
During study abroad programs, it is very typical for foreign students to form cliques with other foreign students, rather than interacting with locals. Though in a new country, students tend to yearn for the familiarities of their home countries. A successful study abroad program, however, is one that forces the students out of their comfort zones. One way of doing this is through homestays. Homestays are vital to the students' understanding and appreciating of local life and culture. While in China, Colgate students participated in 2 homestays, one in urban Kunming and another in rural Shashi under the SIT homestay program. These are their stories.
I really enjoy my rural homestay because I spent more time with my rural family than I did with my urban host family. I really loved spending time with the kids. We played a whole lot, especially the little boy. He was the cutest thing ever. It was so fun playing with him.
I had a 1.5-year-old host sister. Her name was Duan Zeping, and she was just so cute and so much fun to play with. And she was just a baby, and it's easy for me to make friends with a baby. You pop out of somewhere, she doesn't know where you are. That she laughs. Oh, totally easy. Don't need language for that. So that was great.
So we all went to KTV, and it was really fun. We were there for a really long time, and they were really good singers as well. Obviously, they only sang like Chinese songs, and I sang English songs, and so did Sammy, and so did Ross. But it was really fun, and I thought that was a good bonding moment because we just got to hang out.
She invited me to a Chinese wedding of one of her coworkers. At first I didn't know what we were going to. I thought we were just going to a meal, but when we were walking to the place, we saw like all these brides in the front, and I realized that we were going to a wedding.
When we went upstairs to go eat, it was just this big room full with these huge tables, and when the bride and the groom finally came in, everyone was eating during that time, and they weren't even paying attention to the bride and groom or looking at them, and they did some weird stuff to them. They made the bride and groom knock their heads together 3 times and then bow to the audience 3 times, and then afterwards the bride and groom had to go and drink with every single table.
I had a lot of political discussions with my homestay mom, and she also said that Americans love war, and if someone dropped a nuke on the US, the world would know peace. But I kind of just laughed them off and said, no, you can't bomb the US, I live there.
I really wanted a rural homestay experience, and I definitely got that. They went out to cultivate the field for sorghum, which will be made into beer, and they invited me to go along with them, and I thought that was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and even though I came back sore all over, I definitely see that as a very valuable experience.
So my grandpa is a musician in the Shashi ancient music troupe. I asked him to play for me one night, and then he played 4 different instruments for me. When I saw him perform, I was so he felt like my own grandpa. Just watching him, I was like, you look at my grandpa. grandpa! Like, your grandpa isn't as cool as mine because he's playing right now.
With both homestays, there was the issue of being able to communicate, the language barrier. But the language barrier was a lot worse in Shashi because they were speaking with a very, very thick Baizuhua accent. So it took me a while to try to figure out, but I could figure out some of the accent by the end of it. I remember the first day when she was telling me Chirfanla, she kept saying like, Safala, Safala, Safala. And eventually, after a while, I figured out, oh, that was Chirfanla. And using that, I guess, figured out somewhat. But it was still a lot more difficult communicating with them than it was at the Kunming homestay.
I'm not sure if this was a problem with them or with me, possibly both, but I'm a pretty quiet person and I don't open up very well, and they sort of reciprocated the feeling.
With my rural homestay, what really, really scared me even before I went there were the pit toilets. It was really, 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 really hard, the pit toilets. That was very scary. I didn't like it. And once when I was using it, I saw like a piece of turd like just stuck right there, and I was just like, oh my gosh, please just save me right now. I just want to die. That's really how I felt.
The rural homestay, I had to adjust to a lot. They didn't use running water to wash their dishes, and I very rarely saw them use soap to wash their dishes too. So that was different for me. I lost my appetite each meal, but I would still have to keep telling myself, this is an experience, this is an experience. Just cross my fingers that I won't get sick.
I had no shower. So in the rural homestays, they warned us about not having showers at our homestays. So that's the reason why like they would have showers at the cultural center that was set up for like foreign students, and it was always open for anybody who wanted to go take a shower. In the countryside, I didn't think about being dirty as much because it's like a normal thing. And I didn't smell bad, but it just didn't bother me because it wasn't a problem.
I think there are just countless benefits to having homestays. Like, truly, I think that if you're going to a country to immerse yourself in a culture, I don't think there's a better way to do that than to go and have a homestay, because if you're living in someone's house, you're seeing how they live, usually, and you're seeing them face their everyday issues. You're hearing them discuss with each other their everyday problems, what matters to them the most, and I just think that's an excellent way to learn about another country.
Communicate as much as you can with the people you're staying with. It'll make it a lot easier, it'll make it a lot more fun, and it'll allow you to get a lot more out of it.
I guess being that sort of bubbly person who gets to know people really well would be very helpful.
If there's any advice I can give anyone going abroad doing a homestay, just let yourself have that first day and a half where you're freaking out. Expect the unexpected. Know that you're not going to know what's going on every second, every day, and just go with the flow.
Homestays are one effective way to help create students with a global perspective. Through their homestays, the Colgate students gain a better understanding of the local peoples and their ways of life. The students' proficiency in the Chinese language improved, and they got to experience the life of people of different racial, cultural, political, and socioeconomic background than theirs. Though challenges are inevitable, the students adapted well to their circumstances and learned to not only accept, but also to appreciate the differences between them and their families, thus proving the significance of homestays. We hope that the students, ourselves included, will go back to their home countries with insight on and appreciation for cultural and racial differences, letting them not divide, but rather unite us.